What's going on, farmers? And a big welcome to all new people stopping by to check out the channel. Thank you for stopping by. Hopefully, if you found this channel, you're looking for some answers to some questions. Hopefully you find them. If not, maybe somebody here can help you out. Just put down below in the comments and we'll see what we can do. Hope you all had a great and a Merry Christmas and an amazing New Year celebration with all the holidays and parties and celebrating behind us. It's time to get to work in 2020. So today I'm going to be talking about the whole rear end stuff. You know, last weekend I just finally got my Merillat Racing torque boxes installed and almost completed. I have a few more welds to do, but I ran out of gas, and today was the only day I could get to the Great Lakes welding supply and get me a new bottle. But I couldn't help but want to put this rear end up in place, and as you can see, I got it sitting up there. And so I played around a lot this week with working on the Coilover Bar mount location and how I'm going to do that. And that's what we're going to talk about today. As you can see here, I got some parts laying out. I got some new parts over here we'll talk about. But stick around, sit down, grab a drink, some popcorn maybe, and hang out. Being build season and all the fact that so many vendors had great pricing and discounts out there for the holidays, I hope you guys took advantage of that and got you some nice parts at discount pricing. I know myself, I took advantage of it and got the whole Holley setup, Dominator, dash, wiring harnesses, sensors, everything I could possibly think of that I'm gonna need. I ended up buying. I bit the bullet, and you might be thinking, Brett, you're not even ready to wire this thing up or even anywhere near getting it running. But I took notes last year during the 2018 holidays sale on pricing. When the 2019 sale went on, I took and compared this year's pricing to last year's and found out that like the higher price items were at least 10% more this year than they were last year. Being that, well, that and my goal is to have this thing in drag week in 2020, I wasn't going to wait for 2020 holidays sale. So I figured I might as well bite the bullet now, get it all at good pricing. And a buddy of mine told me that it's a good idea because also in end of January, I think, 2020, the pricing for Holley stuff's going to go up. They're going to have an increase. Just like most things have an increase every year. I bet you guys are wondering, I wonder where he ordered this Holley stuff through. And well, it was the same person I ordered my weld wheels from. And I'm going to be ordering my strange parts for my rear end. The guy can get just about anything, but I want to preface, before I share, that you need to know exactly, like, to the part number that you want, because his knowledge is not in the area of street cars. His knowledge and his technical advice is more in the range of billet block Hemi stuff, like Brad Anderson blocks and Alan Johnson blocks, heads, super, big methanol huffing, supercharged, 4,000 horsepower stuff that you run down the track and that's it. Not street car stuff, none of that. He can't tell you if this is going to fit your Mustang or if this will work for you. So I would not call him expecting any kind of technical advice or things that he'd be able to point you in a good direction, just because it's kind of out of his realm. And but I had a talk with him about it all, and he said he's perfectly fine getting you guys pricing. Just know what you want and be able to give him a parts list, basically. Get your pricing, and if you like it, then you can order it. So who I used is Snyder Motorsports. You can look them up on the internet, and I'll have a link down below. But it's SNYDER motorsports.com, and Mick there will get you any pricing you want. Just give him a call, let him know, and then he'll probably have you send an email with a spreadsheet or something, or a handwritten note, the parts you want exactly. But he can get weld, like anything Holley. So it's MSD, all their, Holley's the owner basically, and everything below them. So if you go to their Holley website and you find something on there you want, give them a call. Fuel pumps, EFI stuff. You can also, he's got connections for Strange parts and pieces. I'm also, when I order these parts, these Strange parts, I'm going to need the tooling to do the pinion depth check and all that stuff. So he's a T&D machine dealer, so you get stuff from him if you need T&D specialty tools. But yeah, check him out, and like I said, I'll have a website link below. Like I said earlier, last weekend I was working on wrapping up the Merillat Racing lower torque box install, and I noticed my argon tank pressure was real low. I was down like 50 psi, and I decided to stop there. I didn't want to have to deal with any gas loss and weld nasties and all that stuff to clean up. So I decided these things aren't going to move where they're at, and I got a little excited and threw the rear end up in there and started getting ready, taking a look at things, how the coilover bar will end up where it might be, trying to see how the anti-roll bar will mount up, all that stuff, while I was waiting before I could actually get back to Great Lakes Welding Supply and get my bottle exchanged out. One thing I would like to show that I found is these Black & Decker power strip discs. These things are really coarse looking, but they're not aggressive. Works super well on the nasty rusty scaly stuff. I was just using regular flap wheels, and they would get packed up full of crap and then not work, and then when they were working, they were just making a lot of dust. These things just knock the stuff off and get you to bare metal real quick and easily without a ton of mess, way less mess than a flap wheel. They're a little pricey and they do wear quickly, but they're worth it. So talking about the coilover bar, that's what this kit is here. This is the Tin Soldiers kit. I think it was like around 60 bucks, and it comes with your side plates for your subframe, comes with the tabs for mounting the coilover to, and a piece of 1 5/8 chromoly that's like 36 inches long. So it's a you build it kit basically, all the materials you need to make it work for your situation. Tin Soldiers, I think, and other people make weld-in kits and stuff, but I don't necessarily like using those all the time, just because some things might vary. I've ran into in my past videos, you've seen how some of the things that were pre-made didn't work out so well. So I got that, which is the main thing I got to do next. Then I got right here the Team Z U-Weld It billet arm anti-roll bar kit, And I went with this because price-wise, it's a really good deal. I think it was, I bought it a while ago. It's been sitting on the shelf for a bit, but I think it was like $380-ish, something like that. And I wasn't sure how everything was going to end up. You know, they have kits that are pre-made, but you weld it in and then you can't get it out. So I just didn't like that idea. I want to be able to take it out if I ever need to, or if it breaks. You know, I don't want to have to go in cutting on stuff just to change it out. But working on figuring out how I'm gonna work that all into the coilover bar and how it's gonna fit back there, because things are kind of tight. So, but you know, this kit does come with everything you need. You got the right and left ends. Got some tubing for your end links. Got the mounting tabs, which are made for 1 5/8" bar. And you got your 6-inch billet arms. I was a little surprised on these just because they actually laser cut these holes. But they do all this machine work on this thing. And I don't know, I could see laser cutting it and then finish machining it, so that way it fits like real snug on this. But even these little holes here get laser cut. I don't know, it just seems kind of weird, but it'll work. The other thing I have is these bronze bushings are tight, so I got to work on getting those to fit up right. They're like, I was already working on this one. I got it to go on, but it doesn't, I can't move it with my hand. I had to put a wrench on it to get it to twist. So I got to open it up some more. This one I measured was like 10 thou smaller than this. This is also 1.25 inch diameter by 1/4 inch wall chromoly for your actual anti-roll bar. So that's the torsion part of it. So I gotta get all that stuff figured out. So that's what I was working on this week. And I come to realize pretty quick that even though the housing's in there and everything is measurement wise looks really square, I'm like this side to side, you know, angle wise, I'm within 1/8, and from side to side this way it's like within 1/16. The only problem is, without having the axles in the housing, I don't know where my exact placement's going to be, because you want to have your wheel centered in your fender well. Well, if I don't have axles in my housing, I can't put wheels on. So with the rear end up in there and realizing I need to put parts in the rear end to actually figure out where it's exactly going to land, so I know exactly where to put my coilover bar. The other thing is, I need to know how, in order to know where the coilover bar is going to go, I either need to have the shocks here or make a pseudo shock. And you're probably wondering what that is. Well, that is as easy as getting some 1-inch aluminum square tube, and then looking up on, I plan to use strained shocks, and I'm wanting the 6.5 inch stroke shocks, and getting their dimensions. You can see here, you know, this sheet from Strange gives you all dimensions. You got widths and hole diameters and all that stuff. Well, the end rod end width is 1 inch, so that's why I have 1 inch square tubing. You know, I made a hole up at the top, put my tin soldiers tabs on it, bolted them in. So now I know that those will be spaced properly. But then I also took and measured out, and I got it a little bit upside down. measured out holes. So this hole here is a min extension, which correlates with the collapsed height plus the bumper height. And you have to, there's some fine print that talks about that in here, but basically they give you numbers without the bump stop in it, because that's what everybody else does, and so they want to, have for you to be able to do an apples to apples comparison, blah blah. But so basically, you take this collapse length and add 5.63 to it, so roughly 13 inches. So that's what this one is. From here down to here is 13 inches. Then I just went 1 inch more and more and more until I got to the 6-inch stroke. And so now I know my max extension and my minimum collapsed, length. So now I can use this as a pseudo shock. So with my pseudo shocks in place, I can actually get it set to where I think my rough ride height is going to be. Obviously, with no wheels and tires on, I can't make a very good, can't be very close, very accurate with this, but I'm just, like I said before, trying to get an idea. And I'm probably going to want to be maybe 2 inches of shock extension for normal ride height. That way I have 4 inches of stroke of extension in order to plant the radials and work with getting out from the dig. But the big thing is having your shock perpendicular to the mounts. But the other big thing is working on where I'm going to place the anti-roll bar. And things are already so tight back here with this triangulated forelink that it gets kind of messy, and I don't know that I'll be able to. I wanted originally to have everything under the floor pan or the trunk pan, but from what I can tell, it's not going to work. So I think I'm going to do is, this will be kind of hard to show because I got to work on getting this stuff to fit. I got to size these bushings right to get them to fit, but so I can't really put it on. But and this pipe isn't exactly 1 5/8 OD, but obviously I think I'm going to end up, maybe this side isn't a good idea. So because I don't have the pseudo shock in place, I'm just going to use this side here. But I think I'm going to end up taking, and my arm will basically be, I don't know exactly where I'm going to place this yet, if they're either on the outside of the arm, the anti-roll bar arm, or the inside of the roll bar arm. But I'm going to try and make it so the arm is in line with this coilover mount, because it's going to be hard to see. All right, I'm all up in the trunk right now, so it should be a little bit easier to tell. So this coilover mount bracket on the housing actually wraps around to right here, as you can see. Hopefully the lights good. Well, so that means if my anti-roll bar arm lines up here, then it will also line up with those tangs there, and then I could actually, it's really nice how this works out, but I could install my anti-roll bar tabs roughly in this position, depending on how things work out, and then we'll have plenty of weld. I'll weld the inside, then I'll weld the outside of the tabs or the tangs that are already there. The only problem with that is then my anti-roll bar. Obviously it's not going to sit down perfect, but they will be above the floor. So then I got to make kind of a, I don't know how to make a box to cover them, but you know, otherwise, and that'll give me, my anti-roll bar will be longer, but I think they'll be better because I'm not, otherwise the tabs would probably end up being like right about here, and I don't know that that's going to give good control. So that's everything I've had going on and everything I'm working on. Like I said earlier, I'm going to order up my strange parts, and really won't be able to move too far forward until that stuff comes in. I'll be getting everything ready and close to where it's got to go and stuff, but I'm not going to finalize anything. I'm going to wait till the stuff comes in. I can make sure my housing is perfect, you know, not perfectly square, but as square as I can get it, centered up in the wheel wells, and my pinion angle close to what I think it'll be, and then I can start installing the Coilover bar and anti-roll bar, and hopefully it'll be not too long from now. But there's a few other things I still gotta finish up, you know, still gotta mess those floorboards. I just hate MIG welding that stuff. TIG welding is so much more enjoyable on these old cars, as long as you got clean metal. There was did fight a few spots on the subframe when I was installing those torque boxes where just I maybe should have used 70S6 wires. I think it has more of the cleaner stuff, more silicon. I think that helps clean up the weld puddle. But anyways, well, you guys get out in the garage and work on that car and turn that dream into a goal and crush it. See ya.